Hiya, welcome to my channel. This is Crypto Tyke, and I thought I'd just get started with a little rant more than anything else. It's just about what I've noticed. I've just heard somebody talking earlier, and it's not the first person I've heard. And they've got one of them office jobs. Now, I've worked in an office before, and I can tell you firsthand what these places are like, and they turn everything. You can just tell by listening to somebody speak, let alone the way they dress or what they do and stuff like that. They're just like, and I'm really sorry if you work in an office, but some of you this channel will probably appeal to will probably actually be sat at work, working still in an office, slowly feeling the life being sucked out of you, and you're realising that everything that makes you an individual just so happen to be the bits that make it more difficult for you to progress in the workplace. And that's exactly how it is in the corporate world, because everybody has to say the same buzzwords. Blue sky thinking, let's touch base about this, all that bollocks. I fucking hate it when I hear them phrases like that, I really do. And attrition, anyway, loads of little phrases are, performance reviews, all of that bollocks. And you always notice, it's not actually the person who works the hardest or is the best at the job that gets all the praise. It's usually the person whose stats work out in the end. You never quite know how they're managing to hit those stats, but it's fucking impossible. And funnily enough, in the job I used to work in, I used to enjoy bringing those people down a peg, because I used to look at the stats and listen to the calls, and you can be sure as fuck they were playing the system. And that's what it were a case of. The ironic bit is they were mis-selling PPI, I think, whatever it were called at the time as well. And when I finally left, under a bit of a cloud because of a management issue, my face didn't fit to be actual management, and I'm not bitter about it much. But I think it was I'm quite young, and it was my first realisation that even though I'd given them everything, somebody brand new could walk in and take a job that I'd sort of been promised. So it was, a bit underwhelming. But the ironic bit was, then I ended up leaving, and 6 months later the place got shut down for a week because of the PPI scandal. It's like I had been telling them to keep an eye on that and what went on and all the little fucking tricks. But then I realised, really looking back, I was the twat in all that anyway, because people coming to a corporate place, playing gaming the system, I don't really fucking blame them, now looking back. And funnily enough, in another job that I had, where again, same situation, same kind of job, different company, Arrival actually, and by then I think I'd given up hope. I just fucking dreaded going into work every day, and I'd just got pissed. I didn't give a shit sometimes, and I just ended up leaving. When I actually got offered a job as a team leader there, and I just fucking left. But the ironic bit was that I got offered that job on the back of getting somebody out of the shit for exactly what I used to get them kicked out of a job for doing. So I'd sort of represented the guy in in his disciplinary, pointed out a few little get out of jail free clauses for him, and although pretty much knew he'd done it, it's like, we didn't give the proper training to say you shouldn't be doing that. And he was very pleased. I don't know what he's done since then, but I got him out of being sacked on that day, which is exactly what was going to happen. And on the back of that's when I got offered a role as team leader after only working there a few months. But I just fucking hated talking to people on phones for, and then when I ended up working, but at this particular company that I then moved on to, like, again, another call centre kind of thing, and I also worked for like a magazine, and they were twats. It's the same sort of thing. It's like just trying to do. I mean, I think because it was fashion that it's a little bit more narcissistic, and they wouldn't even let me put on my business cards or be called by the name I prefer being called by rather than my full birth name. And it's like shit like that. It's all designed to rip any individuality out of you. And you get people who are sat there and they're like, oh yeah, well, I'm going to be out of here soon and all this, and they never are. 10 years later they're still in the same jobs, and it's a trap because they need the money that they get, and it's not enough to really do anything with. And that's partly down to inflation as well as just being lowly paid. And the ironic bit of it all is I then decided, after working at another place that I was bored shitless of, and I just then went to another place purely for my own research, for setting up my own business, and I wasn't asked, took a few clients from there with me and started my own business, and I've never fucking looked back. That is the best thing I ever did. And you earn more. You might not start off on as much money, but you can be on just about struggling to make ends meet just as much as you are in a full-time job. The only difference is your hours are your own, so you can have a break when you want. You don't have to fucking wait until break time. You can go for a coffee when you want. You don't have to be in on time necessarily. It depends what your job is. Sometimes it pays to be, it's still good to be punctual in any form of life, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you just slouch around, but you are, and it's a really nice, I remember that first feeling, it's so liberating. And then when the money's coming in, you've got to bear in mind, if you ever want to get out of that shitty fucking rat trap, working in a call centre, and you're thinking, oh yeah, when I've got this much money I'll start my own business, just fucking leave and do it. Dump yourself in there, because that amount of money that you make monthly in your job that you hate, not only are you not being able to free your time to be able to plan for this business, because all of it's taken up by going to work and going to sleep, you're also, the pay that you're getting isn't that difficult to bridge. Obviously you'll have something like working tax credits to get you started, and if your profits out there, that will cover part of it. And basically a lot of people who are working in full-time jobs in this country need working tax credits, bear that in mind. So that'll bridge that starvation gap, so it's not like you're not going to get anything. So then all you have to do is make up the difference that you're getting at work. But when you're getting started, maybe you could cut down on a few things that you're doing, drink less, do a bit less, and also it'll encourage you to work even harder, and that money will start coming in. If your idea is a decent idea, you can start a lot of businesses up from home. I wouldn't advise any of these print-on-demand things. If that's the best idea you've got, you're probably best sticking with a full-time job. But if you've got a particular skill, a hobby that you enjoy, that you're good at, and you know there's a bit of a market for selling it, then it can be done. And sometimes that means picking up the phone and ringing actual businesses or companies that will be interested and be able to supply for you and stuff like that. If you're picking up the phone ringing people at work or fielding calls, then get on the phone. You can still do it. So there's all sorts of methods for being able to start that. And once you've got some reoccurring clients, which was how my business worked, it ticked over each month then, and it built on top of that, suddenly you start finding you're a little bit better off, and you've got more time. I mean, you are going to come to a crossroads where you have to balance, maybe if you're doing well, recruiting a member of staff or something like that, and free up your time still, but it's the whole. Anyway, I've gone on to a whole coaching lesson on setting up a business here. But what I'm saying is, don't think that if you're thinking I'll do it later. I mean, that was the best bit of advice I got when I was like, oh, I fucking hate my job. You know, I want to start my own business. And this guy who basically had a, let's say, illicit business. It wasn't drug dealing, don't worry. At least I don't think it was. He had a lot of strings to his bow, but drug dealing wasn't one of them. Yeah, he was just like, well, why don't you just fucking do it? I'm like, well, because I've got my job and that. Like, why don't you just fucking leave your job? And I thought about it, and that has stuck with me all my life. I mean, it might have taken me another 5 years to actually do that, but it stuck with me all my life, did that, because it's such simple advice, but it's so true. Do it, because 5 years time you'll be stuck in another rut. You might get married and think, oh well, I've got mouths to feed and all that lot, you know what I mean? It's like, so it's all these excuses that keep you locked in, and you'll never ever go anywhere. And one day, and I've had a health scare, you'll look back at your life and you don't want to be thinking, shit, I've spent all my life working for somebody else who doesn't appreciate me. Because the harder you work, the harder you have to work, because you've set that bar for yourself. Nobody appreciates the fact that you work hard. They just want to get as much as possible out of you. They're not asked about you. The minute you're incapacitated in any way, or you have problems, you'll soon be quietly managed out the door. That's the way it works. They don't care about you, so don't have loyalty to them. Don't tell them what you're planning on doing, just do it. So yeah, I've just noticed that people, I see them all over, and it's like, yeah, works in an office, you know what I mean? It's like, got so many big plans. If you watch The Office, yeah, it's got one of the characters in there, and he's got all these big plans, and he's just stuck in the office working it, and he'll never go anywhere. And that's exactly the character that I think Ricky Gervais is trying to get over in The Office, and I think, you know, they've got the same guy in the American Office as well. But yeah, you know, these people, you end up just the same. You end up like a clone of all these other office types, and they're the most boring fuckers in the world. They really are. Don't be one of them. You know, if you have ambitions and you really want to do something, don't be that other guy in the office who, like everybody else in the office, who wants to be doing something else. Actually do something else, because one day you're going to look back, your position financially won't be much any better than it is. You'll just be living month to month, when you could have put your fate in your own hands. And if you fail, don't worry. You can pick the pieces up and try again. If something doesn't work, modify it. Don't get stuck. Don't be a wage slave. They have that saying for a reason, and it's a very good reason. And don't become a fucking bore. Don't turn into that boring office person who's going to die before he gets his pension. Anyway, going to leave it there. Are you working in an office? Let me know in the comments. Have you worked in an office? Do you know does that ring a bell to you, that kind of environment? Let me know. If you've got any funny stories, share them in the comments as well. If you've got a moment, do hit the like button, because it does help with the algorithm, because not many people see my videos, so you're quite lucky if you're watching this, or just happen to be the unlucky one. Who knows? It's up to you to decide. And do subscribe as well, because I've got loads to talk about, wealth of experience on all sorts of bollocks, and I will talk about crypto tomorrow. Okay, catch you later, guys.